Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever does. Quoting Margaret Mead. A very good evening, respected dignitaries, intellectuals, faculties, professors, and all other attendees. Greetings to one and all. It is a matter of great pride and privilege to welcome the legal dignitaries who have gathered here to take part in today's valedictory session of Wildlife Week 2023, hosted by Kerala Law Academy Law College, Trivandrum, in association with KLA Forestry Club and IQAC KLA. Myself, Manupriya Chalan, and I take the privilege to represent myself as a student moderator for this event. To welcome means to establish integrity. It is a moment of great privilege and honor for me to extend a hearty welcome to each and everyone present here today. The Kerala Law Academy Law College, as we all know, established in the year 1966, is a seat of excellence in legal studies, legal research, and pioneering law reforms. To keep up with this legacy, Kerala Law Academy Law College, along with KLA Forestry Club, takes the privilege of hosting this event as well. Before we get started the session, I take this opportunity to remember late Dr. N. Narayana sir, founder, Kerala Law Academy, the torchbearer and backbone of our institution. Thank you all. India is a biodiversity hotspot, home to a vast range of animal and plant species. The country's flora and fauna account for more than 7% of the world's biodiversity and 7.4% of the world's fauna. This rich biodiversity requires proper education and awareness for its preservation, which is why Wildlife Week was initiated initially. Wildlife Week is observed to raise awareness about the role of wildlife in managing an ecological balance. Any long-term damage to wildlife can threaten this entire ecosystem. Therefore, it is crucial to protect wildlife systematically and wholeheartedly. There is a symbiotic relationship between forest-dwelling animals, ecosystem services, and humans. With indigenous people now managing around 28% of forest land, the mission of Wildlife Week is even more pertinent today. The aim of today's session is to make a fraternity more aware of various nuances of scenario of wildlife management in India and to way forward. Small cheer and great welcome makes a merry feast. Today, we're extremely privileged with the presence of Srimati Ranjani Ponnan Sheila Ma'am, Assistant Professor, Kerala Law Academy. Ma'am is also one of the faculty conveners for this event. With great pleasure and honor, I invite Srimati Ranjani Ponnan Sheila Ma'am to deliver the welcome address on this auspicious occasion. Ma'am, please.
A very delightful evening and a very warm welcome to all the eminent dignitaries. The most respected Sri J. Justin Mohan, IFS Sir, Advocate Nagaraj Narayan Sir, Professor Anil Kumar K. Sir, Professor Harinjan Sir, Professor Anil Kumar G. Sir, and other distinguished invitees, faculties, esteemed participants, and dear students. I'm paying the most respect and honor to our beloved founder director, our leading and guiding lamp, Dr. N. Narayana Sir. As you all know, we have virtually gathered here to take part in the valedictory session of the Wildlife Week Celebration 2023, put forward by Kerala Law Academy in association with Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club and IQAC KLA to promote the conservation and protection of animal life. We are delighted to have each one of you joining us on this auspicious session. Wildlife Week is an opportunity to celebrate the many beautiful and varied forms of wild fauna and flora and to raise awareness of the multitude of benefits that their conservation provides to people. At the same time, this week raises awareness and reminds us of the urgent need to step up the fight against wildlife crime and human-induced reductions of species, which have wide-ranging economic, environmental, and social impacts. Sustainable Development Goal 15 focuses on halting biodiversity loss. Kerala Law Academy aims to make its fraternity more aware of the conservation and protection of wildlife through various activities during this week. Now, I would like to move on to the formal welcome address. Today, we are immensely blessed with the presence of the most revered and outstanding personality, our alumni, our honorable guest of the day, Sri J. Justin Mohan, IFS. Chief Conservator of Forest, Kerala. Sir is presently working as Chief Conservator of Forest in Kerala, in charge of eco-development and tribal welfare. He is also the Member Secretary of State Forest Development Agency, of which he manages 36 forest development agencies and 640 Vana Samrakshana Samadhis in Kerala. He also entrusted with the responsibility of Special Officer in charge of the projects implemented by the Forest Department, utilizing the funds from KIFB and RKDP. He worked as Director and Head of the Soil Survey and Soil Conservation Department, Groundwater Department, and State Horticulture Mission in Kerala. He had held various administrative positions and headed enormous projects to his credit at national and state level for the development of wildlife, forestry, and agriculture. Sir has represented India as a lead negotiator in international conferences at Monterrey, Rome, Geneva, Manila, and has visited countries in Asia, Europe, and North America as a part of official delegations. Sir has published articles on biodiversity, soils and forests, and authored a book on access and benefit sharing. I'm also delighted to share that Sir is also the recipient of several awards: the Global Tiger Forum Award, Nilgiri Wildlife Prize, Wildlife Protection Society of India Award, PCCF's Distinguished Certificate, etc., for his great contribution to forest, wildlife, and soil management. Despite of his busy schedule, Sir has kindly agreed to share his immense knowledge and experience on the topic Scenario of Wildlife Management in India and Way Forward here today. On behalf of Kerala Law Academy Law College, Forestry Club, teachers, students, and non-teaching staff, with immense pleasure and privilege, I welcome you, sir, to our valedictory session. It's my immense pleasure and privilege to welcome my own teacher, Advocate Nagaraj Narayan sir, Director, Kerala Law Academy Law College, Member of Bar Council of Kerala, Special Government Pleader, Forestry, High Court of Kerala. An eminent lawyer, a very genuine down-to-earth person, a great environmentalist, and a dynamic leader who has always stand with us with great vision to inculcate legal, ethical, and cultural values with a view to nation building. With great pride, on behalf of Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club and KLA family, I extend our warm welcome to you, sir, into this session. Professor Anil Kumar K. Sir, Director, Administration, Faculty and Students Affairs, Kerala Law Academy Law College. My chief mentor, a great personality with distinguished leadership, who always stands as an inspiration, motivation, and strength to all our endeavors. With great pride and immense pleasure, on behalf of Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club and KLA family, I humbly extend my hearty welcome to you, sir. Now, it's time to welcome our beloved principal, a man with positive attitude, Professor Harrington K. Sir, for all your guidance and support for organizing this event. With great privilege, on behalf of Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club and KLA family, I extend my hearty welcome to you, sir. On behalf of Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club, I take this opportunity to welcome my beloved teacher, our students' vibrant professor, our Professor Anil Kumar Ji Sir, Vice Principal, Kerala Law Academy, who is a source of inspiration to all academic activities in this college. On behalf of Kerala Law Academy, it's my privilege to welcome you, sir. On behalf of Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club, I humbly welcome our energetic, enthusiastic professor, our beloved Ms. Kasturi Nagaraj ma'am, Assistant Professor of Kerala Law Academy, and an active member of our Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Ranjini.
I extend a very warm welcome to our N.K. Shashidharan sir, Assistant Professor of Kerala Law Academy Law College, former DFO officer, who is a very active, enthusiastic teacher and an efficient and committed member of our Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club, who works tirelessly for the success of this event. I cordially welcome you, sir. I would like to extend my warm welcome to Ms. Nayar Saraswati Swati Bala Saraswati ma'am, our beloved teacher, who proposes vote of thanks for today's session. On behalf of Kerala Law Academy Forestry Club, Kerala Law Academy family, I welcome Dr. Professor Ajita ma'am and Dr. Dakshina Saraswati ma'am and all senior faculties to this vibrant session this evening. Last but not the least, I would like to welcome all distinguished invitees, participants, faculty members, students, parents, non-teaching staff, and also all the well-wishers who are on and off this virtual platform. A very warm welcome, everyone. Enjoy the sessions today with our distinguished speaker, Sri J. Justin Mohan, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I also take this opportunity to welcome you two into this event, ma'am.
Thank you, Manapriya.
Today, we have the esteemed presence of the most distinguished guest today, Honorable J. Justin Mohan, IFS, Chief Conservator Forest, Kerala. He is also the Member Secretary of State Forest Development Agency. So belongs to the 1999 batch of Indian Forest Service belonging to the Kerala cadre. He has represented India as a lead negotiator in international conferences at Montreal, Rome, Geneva, Manila, and has visited countries in Asia, Europe, and North America as a part of official delegations. I am deeply privileged to invite Honorable J. Justin Mohan, IFS, for the much-awaited session on scenario wildlife management in India and way forward. Sir, please.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm extremely happy to be back in my college after a few years. Now, let me just remember our founder, Dr. Narayanan. As I begin this speech, he was a great mentor for all of us. I also thank the director, Sri Narayanan, Nagaraj Narayanan, and all the faculty, particularly Dr. Professor Anil Kumar, Director Administration, Professor G. Anil Kumar, Vice Principal, Dr. Harindran, Principal, Professor Sashidharan, all the faculty members and all the students of Kerala Law Academy for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on wildlife management that is happening in India and more focusedly the management practices that we are practicing in Kerala as well. So as I begin this presentation, I have a small PowerPoint presentation to share my thoughts on how wildlife is being managed in our country. Since the audience is predominantly from the legal fraternity, I would be more focused on the legal aspects of wildlife management that is happening in different parts of the country. As I speak through the presentation, I have a 25-slide presentation. As I take you through the presentation, I would also enlighten you about the various animals that are seen in different slides. And I'm sure that at the end of this presentation, you would be enriched with the sufficient knowledge about wildlife and why it should be managed and how it is being managed in our country. I just share my presentation. Someone should tell me whether the presentation is visible.
Yes, sir. It is.
It is visible. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. So as you see, this subject itself is a very vast subject, wildlife management. So I am supposed to complete it in the next 45 minutes to 1 hour. So what I thought was I'll just take you around through the major components of wildlife management and also keep in mind that the audience are predominantly law students and lawyers and from the legal fraternity. So I would also inform you the important things to be kept in mind as a law student or a lawyer while handling wildlife cases. And also some technical or scientific inputs also is required because wildlife management is a combination of both law and science. So we can keep it as 50-50, but I would be focusing more on law and less on science. But nevertheless, you would be knowing many of the managerial aspects that is happening in different parts of the country. Okay. So, you know that elephant is our state animal and Gaur. So this was taken somewhere in Paramikulam. Gaur is also the state animal of Bihar and Goa, whereas elephant is a state animal of Kerala. So during this presentation, we will discuss on why we should conserve wildlife, because this was the major queries that would come in the minds of the lawyers. In fact, when the famous Bollywood star, you all know that case, who was arrested in Rajasthan for poaching a black buck, the question he was asking the assistant conservator of forest was, why you are creating this problem to me? Because this hunting was there for a long time. And this black buck, if I had not hunted, it would have anyway taken, it would have been eaten by a leopard or some other predator. So what is so much fuss in creating so much of issue for killing a black buck? So I would also give you a brief of why this wildlife has to be conserved and what is the basis or logic for wildlife conservation. What are the global initiatives that have been taken for wildlife conservation? What is the legal framework for wildlife conservation in our country? How we are actually handling wildlife offenses and wildlife management practices that are being undertaken both by the government of India as well as the state governments. What are the major threats to wildlife? And what is the way forward? What are the recent developments? And then we complete the presentation followed by discussion and question and answers. You are most welcome to ask whatever doubts you are having pertaining to wildlife conservation. This slide also has a leopard. So leopard, as you know, is one of the big cats. It's a very elusive, very versatile animal that is almost available in the entire landscape of our country. So the need for wildlife conservation. So wildlife is a very, very crucial component of our food chain and food web. And you cannot separate wildlife from forest. Wildlife is an integral part of a forest ecosystem. And as you already know that forests are the major source of water and oxygen. It also helps in carbon sequestration. During the process of photosynthesis, it actually absorbs carbon dioxide and then releases oxygen. So absorption of carbon dioxide also helps to maintain the global climate. So any adverse changes in forest ecosystems are going to bring in a lot of global changes, global warming, El Nino effect, and so on. So forests actually control both the hydrological cycle as well as the carbon cycle. It's also a source of livelihood for forest-dependent communities. About 11 crore population in India are directly dependent on forests for their livelihood. They collect a lot of minor forest produce and make a livelihood by selling it to the nearest cooperative societies or through the Vanasamrakshana Samitis. Forests are also a repository for a variety of genes that are required for our posterity, for our own food security. Forests also provide raw material for various industries, whether it is Ayush industry, pharmaceutical industry, cosmetic industry, and so on. It provides a raw material for various industries. So in order to protect forests, wildlife is very crucial because wildlife ensures the balance of the forest ecosystem. If you remove the wildlife from the forest ecosystems, the forest will automatically get degraded. So it's very vital for the government and for us, for the humanity as a whole, to protect the forests and wildlife. Now, coming to the constitutional provisions, you are already aware about right to life. There are already several Supreme Court judgments on the need for having environment, a clean environment under Article 21. So right to life also includes the right to a clean environment or a safe environment. A safe environment means a safe forest and safe wildlife. So unless the forest and wildlife are protected, it could very well endanger the life of so many citizens in our country. And you already know that after the Stockholm Conference in 1972, an amendment was brought in to the Constitution as Article 48A, which is a directive principle of state policy, mandating all the governments, both the central government as also the state government, to take adequate measures to safeguard the environment that also includes the forest and wildlife. And another provision was included as an amendment as 51AG that mandates that every citizen, it is a duty of every citizen to protect the environment, forest and wildlife. So it is both a fundamental duty and also a directive principle to protect our wildlife and forests. So far as the global initiatives are concerned, the Ramsar Convention, which came into force in 1975, was a major breakthrough to protect the wetlands, which are the major sources of aquatic biodiversity. Then came the CITES, Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, that came into force in 1975 under the aegis of IUCN. So that was the major attempt by the world community to ensure that wildlife trade is regulated. So members throughout the world who are now, I think almost all the members countries of UN are part of the CITES, except North Korea and South Sudan and some minor, very small countries in the Pacific Ocean. Except for them, all the other countries in the world who are recognized by the UN are now part of the CITES, including India. So CITES has brought in their own regulations to control trade of endangered species. So that is a major intervention or major step to protect our wildlife in different parts of the world. Then in 1993, the Convention on Biological Diversity was brought in as part of the Earth Summit, where it was felt that biological diversity across different parts of the world have to be protected. When I say biological diversity, it also includes wildlife. So based on this, we have this Biological Diversity Act, which was enacted in 2002, since India was a party to the Convention on Biological Diversity. So far as wildlife is concerned in India, the first law which was enacted was the Wildlife Protection Act in 1972. Of course, this is post-independence. Pre-independence, there were several legislations brought by both the Britishers. In fact, the 3rd century itself, we all know that Ashoka the Great had brought in his own regulation to protect our wildlife in our country. But post-independence, the Wildlife Protection Act was a major intervention by the government to protect the wildlife in our country. Then came the Forest Conservation Act in 1980, which ensured that the forests which are in different parts of the country are not diverted for development purposes without the approval of the Government of India. Then the Environment Protection Act in 1986, which brought in a comprehensive approach for environment protection. Now, wildlife offenses are unique in many ways. So on the slide, you will see different type of offenses. Generally, the wildlife offenses are done for meat, by the poor people, or for their own livelihood. They kill wildlife either by poaching them through a gun or by poisoning the carcass of the big cats. And then when the cats come and then feed on the carcass, they instantly die. The other mode of poaching is by traps. Generally, in the estates or in the areas adjoining the forest, due to man's greed, they go in for trapping the herbivores. And unfortunately, many a times what happens is big cats like tigers, leopards, or elephants get into the trap and then they get killed. And many a times this wildlife poaching for tigers or leopards, it's for trade. So it's a big business or a big illegal business that is happening in different parts of the world. So tiger skin trade is a major business, particularly in areas where there are no tigers. For a person who is very, very rich, he would like to have a tiger skin in his house. So what is happening is the people actually engage the local communities for poaching these animals, and then they have a big business by actually dyeing this cattle skin. So to a trader, they will show one real tiger skin and then 10 or 15 fake tiger skins, and then they do a big business. Either per skin they will charge 5 to 10 lakh rupees, and then they sell 10 or 15 fake skins in that process. So it's a big business. So many a times what happens is this tigers, they actually, when they hunt a herbivore, they don't immediately eat it. They allow it to putrefy because they get a better taste. So the people who are living adjoining to the forest or inside the forest, so if they are bribed for poisoning the carcass of these animals, and then when the animal instantly dies, They remove the tiger skin and then sell it to the nearby traders, and then it changes hands till it reaches the international trade mafia. So today, after narcotics, this wildlife offenses are the most prominent across the world. So on the left side of this screen, you see a group of poachers who have poached wild boars, and they have cooked and they have been selling it in local hotels. So many a times this wildlife is killed either for skins or ivory or for horns of rhinoceros, and then these are changed. These poached items change hands and reach international countries through the porous borders, because through the airport or seaport, it is very difficult for them to take these products. So they use the porous land borders to steal it outside the country. So far as the violations and penalties under Wildlife Protection Act is concerned, wildlife offenses are very unique. So under the Wildlife Protection Act, hunting of wild animals, particularly those put in Schedule 1, irrespective of whether they are in forest or not, or possessing a trophy of such animals which are mentioned in Schedule 1, irrespective of whether you have taken it from the forest or you have bought it from a trader, all attract a punishment of minimum of 3 years and a maximum of 7 years. This is one of the harshest punishments to ensure that wildlife is protected in our country. Irrespective of the schedule, if any offense is committed in a wildlife sanctuary or a national park, the same imprisonment of 3 years or up to 7 years is given to the offender. Similarly, in the recent amendments, offenses related with species listed in Appendix 1 of Schedule 4, that is brought under CITES, they also are given an imprisonment of minimum of 3 years that can extend up to 7 years. And if the offender has done a subsequent offense, then generally the punishment goes up to 7 years and a fine of not less than 1 lakh rupees. So this is specialty of the Wildlife Protection Act. Suppose a poacher kills the animal, he gets the same punishment. Or if he possesses a trophy, again he gets the same punishment, irrespective of whether he is actually killed or even attempt to hunt also gets a punishment of 3 years plus. Similarly, hunting of wild animals, possession of and trade of trophies of wild animals other than Schedule 1 animals, imprisonment is given of up to 3 years or a fine of up to 1 lakh or both. Similarly, if there is a hunting or altering boundaries of tiger reserves, a maximum punishment of 3 years, minimum of 3 years, which can extend to up to 7 years, and a fine of 50,000 to 2 lakh is imposed. For subsequent offense, if someone is trying to hunt or alter the boundary in a tiger reserve, then imprisonment is not less than 7 years. So this gets the maximum punishment. So if there is an offense in a tiger reserve, they get a maximum punishment of not less than 7 years if it is a repeat offense. If it is a first offense, it would be 3 years and a maximum of 7 years. There are also minor punishments if you are teasing or injuring or feeding, disturbing of animals in zoo or littering in zoo. You are liable for an imprisonment of up to 6 months along with a fine of up to 2,000 rupees or both. Similarly, if you are possessing or trading of specified plants that are mentioned in the Act, then you can be imprisoned up to 3 years. So if you are possessing any specific plants without any approval, then you can be imprisoned for up to 3 years. If you are attempting to hunt outside the wildlife sanctuary, so you need not hunt. You may not have hunted, but if you are attempted to hunt, then again you are liable for an imprisonment of up to 3 years. And if you are attempting to hunt inside the wildlife sanctuary or a national park, you are punishable with a minimum of 3 years imprisonment that can extend up to 7 years imprisonment. So hunting, attempt to hunting, possession of a trophy, all carry the same imprisonment. So that is the specialty of the Wildlife Protection Act. Similarly, if you are having or possessing dead wild animals or its trophy, it is treated as a hunting and you are liable to be imprisonment for 3 to 7 years. So far as penalties are concerned, Wildlife Protection Act has some of the stringent penalties. If you take across the world, I think India has stringent penalties. So that is only to ensure that wildlife is protected and we do not take wildlife offenses casually. So, as per the law, wildlife offenses, killing of wildlife offense, poisoning, attempt to kill, having an illegal possession of wildlife trophy, or any wildlife, even in the form of a meat or any other derivative from the wildlife, all attract the same punishment. Similarly, the statement is given to the forest officer, it is admissible as evidence in court of law. It's just like any other forest law, because inside forest, it is very difficult to get a corroboratory evidence, unlike a normal police case, where the police officer has to have they have to corroborate the evidence based on the statement. Here, the statement that is provided to the forest officer is admissible as an evidence in the court of law. Again, there is another specialty so far as wildlife offenses is concerned. The vehicle which is involved in the offense becomes part of the crime. So it is liable to be confiscated and then it becomes government property. It would also be attached by the court. Offenses connected with Schedule 1 species and inside sanctuaries and national parks are not compoundable. You cannot, there is no provision to compound such cases. All offenses under the Wildlife Protection Act are cognizable and non-bailable. So the officer can take cognizance, and bail is not a matter of right. It is at the discretion of the court. And for predominantly, the punishment is given for 3 years plus imprisonment plus fine. So this is a tiger skin case, which when I was in Palakkad, we actually seized some tiger skins from Patambi, from a shop, and all the way as part of investigation, we went to Ooty to catch the culprits. So it is a chain of events, and many a times that chain gets cut up. So we many a times will not be knowing actually who is the poacher or killer, but intermediately, many a times what happens is the people themselves will not know, because they will have their own codes while selling these skins. It was only during this investigation I came to know that there is also a large industry functioning in different parts where they dye the cattle skin, convert it into just look like a tiger skin, and a person who is actually residing in a non-tiger country, they buy these cattle skins, giving huge amount. So this is a big business that is going in different parts of the country. In spite of so much of intelligence network and a lot of protection, this keeps happening. But by and large, we have been able to control over the years, and it has reduced to a great extent. But still, we have to go a long way to bring it to almost zero. Now, so far as wildlife management is concerned, the Government of India has taken a lot of proactive measures as part of the provisions in the Wildlife Protection Act. So today we have different areas classified as protected areas. So protected areas means the areas which are rich in biodiversity and actually rich in wildlife. So today there are about 18 biosphere reserves. In Kerala, we have this Agastyavanam Biosphere Reserve, Anamalai Biosphere Reserve, and also the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So we have 3 out of the 18 biosphere reserves. We have 54 tiger reserves in our country. In Kerala, we have a Periyar Tiger Reserve and also the Paramikulam Tiger Reserve. So these tiger reserves are funded by the Project Tiger, which was actually commenced in 1972, which is an ambitious program to protect our tiger territory, because tiger is an apex species in a forest ecosystem. And the health of a tiger is very important to protect the health of the forest ecosystem. And today, 635 rivers flow out of these 54 tiger reserves in our country. And we can proudly, all Indians can take pride that today we have about 3,682 tigers in India, out of which 213 tigers are in Kerala. Then we also have elephant reserves. Elephant reserves are areas rich in elephant population. There are about 33 elephant reserves in the country, and Kerala has elephant reserves in the form of Nilambur Elephant Reserve, Wayanad Elephant Reserve, Annamalai Reserve, Elephant Reserve, and also Periyar Elephant Reserve. So there are about 30,000 elephants in India, out of which 2,386 elephants are there in Kerala. Similarly, we have about 106 national parks and 567 wildlife sanctuaries notified in different parts of the country. Kerala has about 6 national parks and 16 wildlife sanctuaries. We also have 2 tiger reserves. 75 Ramsar sites are there across the country. Ramsar, as we told you earlier, it is a convention. Ramsar is a place in Iran. So it's a convention to protect our wetlands. So we have in Kerala 3 Ramsar sites in Kerala. One is Ashtamudi, one is Vemanad, and one is Sastamkota. So 172 countries are parties to this Ramsar convention. And as per the Biological Diversity Act, areas which are rich in biodiversity, but they are outside the forest ecosystems, they are notified as biodiversity heritage sites. As on date, we are having about 36 biodiversity heritage sites in different parts of our country. So this is the protected area network in our country. Now, since tiger is the apex of the forest ecosystem, we can take pride that we have the highest number of tigers. Almost 70% of the world's tigers are in India. As you already know, tigers are available only in 13 tiger range countries. That is, one is India, Russia, China, Myanmar, Thailand, Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Laos, Malaysia, Cambodia, Indonesia. So out of these countries, we have, out of the 5,500 tigers worldwide, we have about 3,682 tigers. That's approximately 70% of the world's tiger population. And the growth rate is approximately 6%. We are approaching towards a growth rate of 6% so far as tiger population is concerned. The presence of tigers indicates the health of other species in the forest. So if there is a tiger, that means it has a healthy population of other carnivores, herbivores, omnivores, and also very good vegetation. So in order to create awareness about the tigers, we are celebrating 29 July as the World Tiger Day. We have a dedicated National Tiger Conservation Authority, NTCA, which takes care financially as also technologically the tiger reserves in different parts of the country. Coming to the management strategies, see, so far as wildlife management is concerned, the major component is the habitat management. The areas have to be ensured that there is sufficient fodder for the herbivores, there is sufficient water for both the herbivores and the carnivores, fire is being managed, the invasive alien species or weeds are managed properly. The people's participation is there to protect our forest and ecosystem through the participatory forest management. Today, we have a lot of Vanasamrakshan Samitis and eco-development committees. In Kerala, we have about 640 Vanasamrakshan Samitis and eco-development committees functioning vibrantly in the state. Also, the livestock management, because many times what happens, the people who are living in the forest fringes have their own cattle. And many times the diseases from the cattle start spreading to the wild animals. Say, for example, foot and mouth disease. It's a disease that can actually spread through the water. So if a cattle having this disease actually takes water from a pond inside the forest, any wildlife taking the same water can also get the disease. So livestock management is very important. Also intelligence collection to ensure that this wildlife is protected from poaching. And also mitigating man-animal conflict. That includes fences. Different types of fences are there. We'll be discussing in due course. Rapid response teams with the forest and local communities, forest officials and local communities, and also a relocation. Those who are willing to move out from the wildlife areas, they are relocated to the urban areas. Like under the NTCA, National Tiger Conservation Authority scheme, the families who have been living in the core habitats of tiger territories are actually relocated by giving a compensation of 15 lakh per family. But in Kerala, we also have another scheme called Navakiranam. In addition to this NDCA scheme, under the RKDP, Rebuild Kerala initiative, we have this same scheme to ensure that families who are willing to move out of the wildlife habitats to move away from this man-animal conflicts, they are given 15 lakh rupees as compensation to move away from these wildlife habitats, and then this land is taken over by the forest department, and that also helps to connect the different forest areas, and there is a corridor built up, and also to manage the ecotourism. So ecotourism is a major activity in forest areas, as you know. So ecotourism management also forms a management strategy so far as wildlife management is concerned. And in the wildlife, normally both carnivores and herbivores live together. They have to sustain themselves. For wildlife prey-predator relationships are generally very emotional. And for a tiger, which is at the apex of the forest ecosystem, generally about 70 cheetal units are required at a time in their territory. Depending on the size of the prey, the tiger fixes that territory. So in some places it is 5 to 10 kilometers. Sometimes it goes up to 20 to 25 kilometers, depending on the prey base. And you see a tiger family on the top and the cheetal family on the bottom. The cheetal family, actually, normally after the feeding, they all the herbivores, they actually at the time of resting, they actually take a position on all sides to see if there is any enemy approaching them. Most of their enemies are tigers, wild dogs, leopards, and so on. So in order to guard their families, they keep seeing on different places after their meal. Similarly, the tigers also are aware that the herbivores are actually generally more vigilant. So generally, the hunting takes place in the night, particularly in water holes, wherever the water is available. The tigers or leopards, they wait for the herbivores to come there, and then they attack them, ambush them, and kill them. Now, nature is very beautiful. Each species has a purpose. So whether it is avifauna like birds, we have a rich biodiversity of birds. In India, we have thousands of bird species. About 1,500 species are there. In Kerala, we have about 550 species. Different types of birds are there. Some species are very, very native or endemic to Kerala, like the Nilgiri langur, which you are seeing on the screen, or the Malabar giant squirrel, which is again endemic to the Nilgiris. So these are all endemic to our state or to the Nilgiris. It's also available across the Nilgiri biosphere in Tamil Nadu as well. And then you are seeing also the wild dog, which is considered to be a very voracious predator. Normally, they hunt in packs. About 15 to 20 wild dogs join together. They chase the animal, herbivore, even carnivore. Every carnivore is also afraid of this wild dog because they are very ferocious. And then they make the prey tired. Generally, the prey enter the water holes thinking that they can save themselves. But the wild dogs generally are very good swimmers. They generally catch the prey in the water hole and then devour them within minutes. God's creations are very, very beautiful in nature. Here you see the Nilgiri Tar, which is again very close to Kerala and Tamil Nadu, both in Mukurthi National Park and Eravicular National Park. They have a very, very big population, Nilgiri Tars. In fact, Tars are also an evidence that world was together at one point of time. Earth was connected together. Now they are distributed in 3 different locations. One is the Arabia, they call Arabian Tar. One is in Himalayas, they call Himalayan Tar. And now we have this Nilgiri Tar spread across Nilgiris. Generally, they are in grasslands. They are very sure-footed. They are actually intermediate between the antelopes and the domesticated goat. And Tars are also mentioned in the Old Testament of the Bible. So they have lived for many centuries. And then generally, they are in grasslands where there are a lot of shola forests, which you are seeing on the screen. This is typical of Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, where there are a lot of shola forests. Shola forests are forests along the mountain ranges between the valleys, where actually these deers or all the animals take rest, where there is a lot of vegetation. And during the daytime, they come out and start grazing the grasslands. So, and then you see the wild boar. which is commonly not liked by our farmers because they feel that they actually destroy their crops. But from the ecological perspective, they have their own importance because they help in germination of seeds inside the forest. So they have their own ecological role to play, and also they are a very good prey for all the carnivores, whether it's wild dog, leopard, or hyenas, or tiger, or wild dogs. So they have their own role to play, and also a variety of snakes. They have a major role in forests. There are a variety of vegetation, particularly orchids, which are orchids and other forms of vegetation that are rich in very good genes. Now we come to the different flagship and keystone species. Since you are hearing this lecture, you should know that what is a flagship species and keystone species which are mentioned. Generally, the flagship species is the species around which a wildlife sanctuary is declared. Say, for example, national park like Silent Valley National Park, the flagship species is the lion-tailed macaque, which you are seeing on the screen. And keystone species is the species which actually helps in the survival of the flagship species. So the Kulinia, which you are seeing on the screen, that fruit is the keystone species so far as Silent Valley National Park is concerned. So apart from the major carnivores and herbivores, forest ecosystems also have a variety of insects like butterflies, dragonflies, and amphibians like frogs and fishes and all. They play their own role, like butterflies and damselflies, dragonflies. They help in pollination inside the forest ecosystem, which are very, very important for the survival of various herbs, shrubs, and trees. Coming to the threats to wildlife, the major threat is poaching for meat. Generally, out of man's greed, they poach the wildlife for meat. They target herbivores, thinking that it has a lot of taste in it, or they have their own medicinal properties. Second threat is poaching for trade. That is more organized. It's an organized crime that is happening in different parts of the world. Forest fire is again a major threat. Then there are a lot of accidents that keep happening on the roads and on the rail tracks. This accident is just in Palakkad, as you all know that this accident happens in the Valayar area between Coimbatore and Palakkad, which is actually the rail track actually crosses through the forest. So periodically this rail accidents keep happening, and we have taken a lot of number of steps, but in spite of that, now and then such instances happen. Then grazing is a major concern, because the people who are having their own cattle, the cattle of the local communities start grazing the forest areas, which also affects the herbivores. And then invasive alien species like senna, for example, which has actually encroached the Wayanad district, particularly the Sultan Bathery and North Wayanad divisions. So where senna has become a big weed for us, and it has actually invaded the forest ecosystem that you are seeing on the right side. And then a pest and disease outbreak, and also climate change. As climate change, we are adjusting ourselves, but climate change is a potential threat to our wildlife, because they also have to adjust to the climate change that is happening in different parts of the world. Coming to the habitat management, generally in a national park or a sanctuary, they go in for planting of fodder crops, or grasses, bamboos, and so on, to ensure that the fodder requirement or feed requirement is available for the herbivores. Similarly, they also go in for water management, creating a lot of water holes in areas where there is water scarcity. For example, classic case is Tamil Nadu. They go in for solar pumps inside the forest. Through solar energy, they pump water from the ground and then create artificial water holes to take care of the water requirement for the wildlife. Now, coming to the rapid response teams, forest officials play a major role to protect our wildlife, and also the citizens who are actually living outside the fringes of forests. Here you see our own staff in Silent Valley National Park, Munnar, and so on, who are taking care of the forest ecosystems there. We have our own kumkis, trained elephants. Whenever there is an elephant that is straying into the human habitations, we capture them through our kumkis to ensure that there is no loss to life or property. So forest officers actually are doing a great job. Many of them are living inside the forest in very, very remote areas. They are the unsung heroes of the conservation saga. Now, the major challenge for us is what is important, development or environment, whether it is economics or ecology. Many times what happens is, as part of our development activities, we encroach a forest ecosystem. Here you see a road which has been constructed in a elephant habitat. Elephant is crossing the road and then we go in for a fencing. So elephant naturally gets distracted because they actually are used to a particular corridor pathway. So when you are blocking that pathway through elephant fences, then naturally man-animal conflict is bound to happen. So at the policy level, policy making level, we have to take adequate measures to ensure that the wildlife is not affected when we are taking a decision on a development project. So far as Kerala is concerned, we are taking a lot of measures to mitigate man-animal conflict. A variety of fences we are creating in different parts of the state. These are some of the fences which have been taken up in Kerala recently, in the recent past, the past 2-3 years under the KIFBI project, where we have constructed a lot of solar fences, rail guard fences, hanging solar fences, crash guard solar fences to mitigate man-animal conflict. A lot needs to be done to ensure that wildlife pathways are protected, wildlife habitats are conserved. This is a smart program that has been created to connect Kanhar and Pinch green corridor in National Highway 44 to ensure that the pathways of wildlife is not disturbed. So you see the road going above the forest, so the animals can freely move below the bridge which you are seeing. Now, we also know that a large number of communities live inside forest dwelling communities. So we have the Forest Rights Act, which was enacted in 2006. So as part of the act, we are giving a lot of record of rights to the tribal families. The tribal families or the forest dwelling families inside the forest are the actual guardians of forest and wildlife. And Forest Department is taking a lot of measures to ensure the welfare of these tribal families. Here you see our Honorable Minister for Forest and Scheduled Tribe Department. They are handing the record of rights to the tribal communities, and also forest officials play a major role in eco-development initiatives, like to ensure that the requirements of the tribal families are taken care. Here we are actually supplying a lot of solar lights to the families inside the tribal settlements in Peachy Wildlife Sanctuary. Ecotourism is part of wildlife management because every citizen would like to visit a wildlife national park or a wildlife sanctuary. So Forest Department has been organizing a variety of programs, including trekking. You can stay inside the forest, you can sightsee, go for sightseeing, safari, boating. You can take a bath in a waterfall, you can camp inside, you can go in for a nature park visit, you can go in for a cycling, hiking, bird watching. A watchtower have been built to ensure that the visitors have a very pleasant, memorable experience. Also, there are butterfly gardens in different national parks or sanctuaries to promote both pollination on one side as well as for giving some sort of ecotourism program for our citizens. Apart from this, we are also implementing this Navakiranam in Kerala, which is a voluntary relocation of non-tribal settlements under the Rebuild Kerala Development Program. So here we have taken the policy of the Government of India under the NTCA, where a family who wants to voluntarily move out of a forest area, we are giving them 15 lakhs per family. That also helps them to move to an urban area, to buy a land, to construct the house, and the next generation, their children can get a better education. The best part is that they overcome this man-animal conflict. Earlier, they used to stay in areas near to the forest. They are prone to man-animal conflict. Now they are moving to an urban area under this scheme. So till date, about 630 families have benefited. We are targeting another close to about 2,000 families before March this financial year. So hopefully, we will be able to relocate another 1,400 families in due course under this scheme. Kerala Forest Department also has brought in a SARPA app. It's a pride that we are host to almost all the snakes in the country, whether it is king cobra, which you are seeing on the left, or the normal cobra. snakes are part of our ecosystem and play a very, very major role in the ecosystem and our biodiversity. And we in Kerala take a lot of pride to ensure that the snakes are not harmed. From our forest department side, we have actually designed an app called Sarpa app. You can download it on your mobile phone. And then suppose if there is a snake that is coming into your house or into your farm, you can just download the Sarpa app and then immediately inform through the Sarpa app. Within 30 minutes, our trained staff who are available in different parts of the state, they will reach the spot and then they will, without any harm, they will capture these snakes and leave it into the forest. It's an initiative by the Kerala Forest Department. It came when our former Chief Wildlife Warden, Mr. Surendra Kumar, was there. You see him directly trying to catch a snake. And then we have a trained manpower to catch these snakes who are available in all the districts now. And any citizen who is facing any issues pertaining to encroachment of snakes, they can immediately call the officers through this Sarpa app. In fact, recently we got a information that in Chalakudi we had 4 king cobras in one home. Actually, one female king cobra had entered and 3 male king cobras again entered following this female cobra. And in one house there were 4 king cobras which were safely caught and then they were left into the forest. As you all know, king cobra is a king, is considered to be a king inside the forest. They actually they feed only on snakes and they maintain the snake population inside the forest. Kerala has a rich population of king cobras. Now coming to the way forward. So every organ of the government, whether it is judiciary, executive or legislature, they have a major role to play. So far as the executive is concerned, whether it is the government level or at the department level, we have to take the necessary policy decisions to ensure that the existing forests are protected. It is not encroached. It is not unduly disturbed, because the more you disturb the forest, you are going to create a lot of man-animal conflict leading to loss of life and property. Similarly, the judiciary has a major role to play, particularly our lawyer friends and the judicial officers in the various courts. They have to take proactive steps to ensure that the wildlife offences are taken very seriously and due punishment is given to the offenders. Legislature also has to play a major role to ensure that any gaps so far as wildlife protection is concerned, they bring in suitable laws or amend the existing laws to protect our wildlife. And of course, scientists play a major role in wildlife conservation. A lot of research work is happening in different parts of the country. And so far as wildlife is concerned, and we have to go a long way to protect wildlife from the scientific angle. And then NGOs, of course, we have a lot of international NGOs and national NGOs who are dedicated for the cause of conservation in our country. We are really gifted to have these NGOs who are taking care of the wildlife requirements. So on the one side, the forest department is there, who is the executive arm of the government. On the other side, there are a lot of proactive NGOs, non-governmental organizations, who also do a major role to protect our wildlife. And of course, the citizens, every individual, every citizen of this country, every citizen of the state has to play a major role to protect our wildlife. When you are going to a forest area or into a national park or wildlife, you should ensure that you are more responsible. You should not throw the plastics there, because plastics, when they are eaten by the herbivores, it can even lead to death of the animals. So more responsible ecotourism is required from the citizen side. And of course, whenever the citizens come to know about any offenses in their jurisdiction, because in a state like Kerala, which is where there is a lot of overlap between the forest and the adjoining agriculture lands and plantations, rubber plantations, there is bound to be a lot of poaching in the form of traps. So when a citizen comes to know about any such traps in their locality, I think it is the responsibility of the citizens to inform the forest department or the police department so that the culprits are nabbed. Because our forests are our future. So I stop here. Here you see group of wild animals taking rest after their meal. This photo was taken through a drone technology. Of course, we have discussed in depth about the technology front. Kerala also is moving towards going for larger IT based surveillance, including drones and electronic eye. And in the coming days, I think we will be going in for more such technological interventions for safeguarding our wildlife in different parts of the country. I stop here, and now I am open for any discussion from your side. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. I extend my heartfelt thanks to you, sir, for your words of wisdom, and we are extremely honored to have you with us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So with that, we open the floor for feedbacks or questions on the topic of discussion from our attendees. Those who wish to provide the same shall utilize the hand raising option provided in the Zoom platform. So please. I repeat, those who have any queries or feedbacks on the topic of discussion can utilize the hand raising option provided in the Zoom platform.
I think there is no doubt. So,
IT department, please, our director, Advocate Nagaraj Narayan sir is there. So please. Yeah, okay, thank you then.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I could be seen. I was in the vehicle. That is why.
Yeah, no problem, sir. No problem.
So your propositions which you have put were absolutely excellent, especially the whatever disturbance we caused to the forest.
Yes.
That is going to the consequences that is going to happen to us. The
Yes.
human wildlife conflict is going to increase.
Yes.
Absolutely correct.
Correct.
Sir, that is a very that is a proposition which all people should understand. Number
Correct,
two,
sir.
what you said is absolutely correct. Now, judiciary has played a major part
Correct.
in our country.
Correct.
MC Mehta case. MC Mehta was Kamal Nath onwards, public trust doctrine.
Godavarman Thirumalpar.
The Honorable part cases laying down the definition of forest under the Forest
Yes,
Conservation Act,
yes.
expanding
Yes,
it.
yes.
Even in spite of the Forest Conservation Act being amended, I hope that the same definition will still hold the field.
Yes,
So
yes,
all these have been happening, but still the Wildlife Act and this have got a landscape problem because we go by a protected area network protection.
sir.
But actually, what we need is landscape protection.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Landscape protection means, for example, if we take the Trivandrum district, what we find is that we have the Neyyar Sanctuary and Pepara Sanctuary, Neyyar Wildlife Sanctuary and Pepara Sanctuary. But as per the study of the Ashoka Trust for Environment and Ecology and Environment, Research and Ecology and ETRI, their research, ETRI research shows that Kolatthupuzha Territorial Division as well as the Palod division, forest divisions have more endemic and endangered species, both. In terms of endangered and endemic species, they have more than the adjoining wildlife.
Yes.
Now the Tirunelveli, their study shows that the Tirunelveli forest division has got more these endangered and endemic species than the adjoining Kalakkadu Mundanturai Tiger Reserve.
I fully agree.
So what happens is, so this is what is happening. So we take, for example, Rani division. The Gudrigal range is in Rani division. We have the Periyar Tiger Reserve adjoining the Gudrigal division.
Yes.
Gudrigal range is adjoining the Gudrigal range of the Rani forest division is adjoining the Periyar Tiger Reserve.
Correct.
But what we find is that it doesn't have a protected area status. It is a territorial division. It is a reserve forest.
Correct.
But the dispersal of tiger from the Periyar Tiger Reserve comes to this area, and it
Correct.
is, the trees study shows that it is even more rich than the other one. That is the Periyar Tiger Reserve in terms of endemicity and also in terms of endemism and in terms of endangered RET species.
Correct.
So, but we don't declare this. Then Malayattur division, forest division, it is having so much of biodiversity than the adjoining both Wildchar and Malayattur divisions. They are having so much of biodiversity than the adjoining Parambikkuna Reserve, and these are all part of one landscape.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Sir, can
we
I-
don't have a landscape protection at the larger level in the Wildlife Protection Act.
Yeah.
It's all man-made. we say that having more significance and which ecologically more significant wildlife, having more significance for wildlife is protected as wildlife sanctuary or national park. But unfortunately, these areas are not protected. So many recommendations are there. We know that the Wildlife India Institute has made so many recommendations. The French Institute has made so many recommendations. But all these are in paper since the 1980s.
Yes,
So
yes.
what will we do, sir? My question is,
Sir,
the landscape protection is not there. Unless and until we have a larger landscape protection, how are we going to save our wildlife? That is one issue.
no, I would respond to you. Give me 2 or 3 minutes continuously. I'll speak.
Okay, sir.
Actually, sir, when we talk about forests, there are broadly 4 categories. One is reserve forest. Reserve forest means generally there are a lot of activities there. There will be towns, villages, and all. Forests actually are interspersed in these type of locations. So generally, what happens is we allow that to continue as a reserve forest. They notify it as a reserve forest. Government notifies it as RF, and it is protected under the Indian Forest Act as well as the wildlife available in the reserve forest is protected under the Wildlife Protection Act. Now the next level is the wildlife sanctuary, where the rights of the communities are available. They can continue to collect their minor forest produce, whether it is honey or all those things. But then we declare it as a sanctuary because there is a rich population. Then the next level is the national park, where all the rights are extinguished. So the rights of the people are extinguished. It's a higher level of protection. And where there is practically no activity, it is left to nature to take care of that park. So the idea is nature has its own ways to take care of itself. So national park, no activity takes place. And above that is the tiger reserve, where there is a tiger population. Now, when you are talking about landscape approach, already the forest divisions, if you see, are actually demarcated based on the watersheds. If you see whether it is Trivandrum division or Munnar division or Tenmala division, it is actually earmarked by the Britishers based on the watershed. Means how much water is coming through a particular division forest. That watershed is captured as a particular division, whether it is Tenmala or Achangoil or Nayar or Paparas, like that. But when we talk about landscape, I fully agree with you, because each division is managed by a particular DFO or a divisional forest officer or wildlife warden. In my view, I think there is already a circle in the form of circle conservator who actually monitors all these things, whether it is wildlife offenses or a forest offense. So the landscape approach is there. But again, if you start amalgamating these areas into one, management becomes a bit difficult. It will be very difficult for the officers to manage area. So that is why it's some sort of a decentralized type of approach. The various divisions are across the country. This is there across the country. The divisions are forest divisions based on the watershed approach is there across the country for many years now. But at I think this landscape approach has to be done at the circle level, and then I think it should be supervised at the headquarters level in the department. So I fully agree with you. But having said that, the offenses that are committed on wildlife, whether it is a reserve forest or a national park or sanctuary, attract the same punishment under the Wildlife Protection Act. And as I discussed earlier, even if it is outside the protected area, even if you are having a trophy in your home without permission, it amounts to hunting, and you can be imprisonment for minimum of 3 years. So I think adequate safeguards are there. But I agree with your concern on why landscape planning. Maybe we will discuss it internally in the headquarters also. We will see how to take it forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you, sir. Two more persons have raised their hands.
Yes, sir. Yes.
There were 3 persons who have raised their hands. But now
Yes,
I
sir.
find only 2 persons.
Yes.
Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir, thank you for this excellent talk. And my one small clarification is required is like nowadays, as you told, like the conflict between the human and wild animals are increasing. So nowadays, these wild animals, they are coming to the habitats of humans. And
Correct.
because of that, this one is increasing. So what is the actual reason for these wild animals? They are coming to this human habitat area. Like, is it due to, as Nagaraj sir told, landscape issues, or it is due to climate change, or any other food-related issues? So that is my question.
Actually, the wildlife is not coming into the area. We are in fact encroaching their habitat. See, wildlife have been traditionally using a particular corridor, a path for moving from one area to another. Now, if we start a development project obstructing that path, then there is a man-animal conflict is bound to happen. Say, for example, in Munnar, there is a place called Chinna Canal. Via Chinna Canal, these animals keep moving from Theni division to Ernakulam National Park. Now, in Chinna Canal, we have actually allocated land to a lot of landless families. So, naturally, there is bound to be man-animal conflict. When you are encroaching into their land, naturally, you either blocking their corridor or actually allotting some land in a forest area for a development project or for resettling of people. Many of the areas in Idukki district were actually forests once upon a time, which were actually brought in for agriculture under the Grow More Food campaign, because that time we needed agriculture to take care of the food security of our people. So for the government, people are more important. The citizens are more important. So when it comes to development versus environment, it's a very difficult stake at hand, because there is a lot of compulsion on the government also to take up a development project. And we have to move in for more technology, as I showed you in the presentation. We will have to go in for a more pragmatic approach to ensure that the wildlife is not affected. We do not encroach the wildlife. Otherwise, in a situation like Kerala, where there is abundant supply of water, there is no problem for feed. Unlike other states like Tamil Nadu and all, during the summer, there could be scarcity for feed. So that is why they go in for artificial planting of grasses and all to take care of the herbivores. But in a place like Kerala, that problem is not there. Generally, the feed issue is not there. Water availability is also not a problem. So when we go and encroach into a land, so then there is bound to this man-animal conflict is bound to happen. So I think now at the executive level, whenever we are taking a policy decision, for example, a classic case is the Arlam case. Arlam, when we resettle the tribal families under the resettlement plan, we had resettled a large number of families there, but actually the land was actually used by the wildlife there. After the relocation, there were a lot of man-animal conflict. Actually, the elephants keep raiding the crops there. Nothing could be done because that is their area. We actually, for satisfying our people, we allocate a land in a forest area. But actually, when we do that, definitely we also have to accept the fact that man-animal conflict is bound to. So whenever a development project has to be undertaken, we have to take extraordinary precaution to ensure that we do not obstruct a natural corridor or a natural path used by the wildlife for ages. So that is going to create a problem for us. That is the only reason. Otherwise, from forest department side, we have been taking a lot of efforts to mitigate man-animal conflict by erecting a lot of fences. Wherever there is a demand, there is a lot of money available under KIFBI and all. And we have been taking a lot of efforts. The only problem here is whenever we are taking an fence. So whenever taking a fence in a area adjoining a forest, it has to be managed properly. So forest department alone is not a stakeholder there. The Grama Panchayat there, the people there, the public representatives there also have a major role to ensure that the fence created by the forest department are properly taken care. Otherwise, in due course, the fence actually does not start working, or it could be actually worn out, and then again the same problem keeps happening. So that is the reason. So there is a responsibility from our side that is required to mitigate man-animal conflict, and from forest department side, I think we are doing whatever possible from the government side to take care of this issue. I stop here.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. I am Advocate Mayadas.
Yes, sir. Sir, we are not able to hear you.
Sir, you're not audible, sir.
Mayadas, please speak. Mayadas is a prominent lawyer. Please, Mayadas.
Great, sir. Great.
Some connection problem, maybe it seems.
Yeah, yeah.
So next person,
Yeah,
please.
I'll be very happy
Six-
to speak to a practicing lawyer, because judiciary has played a tremendous role to protect the forests of this country.
Sir, that was what I was about to say, sir.
Yes, sir.
That is sensitizing the judicial officers is most
Yes,
important.
yes, sir. Yes.
Only
Yes,
they can
yes.
protect. Now, in the present scenario, democratic elected governments have put a lot of pressure,
Yes, sir.
but the
Yes,
judiciary
yes.
is not to put any pressure like that.
Yes.
So
yes.
what can be done is, if we sensitize the judicial officers with such classes and all this,
Yes, sir.
they are the best persons who could do this.
Yes. Who knows? Many of the audience from here may go ahead and become lawyers, environmental lawyers, or judges in due course.
And a lot of
So-
lawyers are also there. They
Yes,
they-
yes,
they
yes, yes.
joined this program. Now,
Yes,
six
sir, yes,
persons are seen to have raised their hands.
Yes,
But
sir.
nobody is
Please.
asking question.
Sir, I have
Please,
only one doubt. Who is the authority of construction marking in the construction in the court?
Sir, not clear, sir. Who is the authority?
Confession recording authority, confession. Who can take the confession of forest cases? In forest cases, when we are recording the confession.
Confession.
statement,
Okay. Confession. Okay.
confession, who
Actually,
has the
sir,
authority?
actually, it is the ACF and above. In wildlife cases, we normally
Sir,
request the ACF and above.
may I interfere, sir? May I
Sir,
interfere in this case?
Yes.
Sir, there is two decisions. Why my friend is asking is, now there are two decisions of Justice Badruddin
Sir.
and Justice Mary Joseph. And
Sir.
Justice Badruddin has said in wildlife cases, confession can be had as sir said, only above a particular this one.
Correct.
And in the case of forest and this one,
Correct.
it can be
Any
only
ga-
about that. But
Correct.
that is a preliminary judgment, because it was seen without seeing so many earlier judgments. Number one.
Correct.
Number two,
Correct.
there is one decision, that is CBI versus Motilal. In that
Sir.
decision, it has been specifically stated that this position is different from the other one.
Okay.
It is not
Okay.
completely confined to this. So
Correct.
it's a preliminary decision. Now the forest department has now moved the High Court to get
Sir.
it corrected. And it
Okay.
is pending.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So if it is corrected, then the other position will apply, sir.
Okay. So you replied to Advocate Mayadas. Okay. Great.
Well,
Okay.
Simon said the class was great.
There
Is it,
is
sir?
a lot of
Thank you, thank
confusion
you.
among the sir. There is a lot of confusion among lawyers themselves
Sir,
that this
sir,
is
I-
happening. This all
sir-
over India, these decisions are created confusion.
Sir, actually, sir, wherever I have worked, I have ensured that I have signed the cases. I have said, sir, I have taken the statement, and I am also going to the courts even now for whenever the trial happens. That is additional work. But I take lot of pride in that because I did not want my cases to flop. So I have ensured that I myself.
One issue, sir. These two decisions have created not only doubt in Kerala, but all over India, these two decisions have created doubt. Now, this have to be set clear by the Kerala High Court itself. For in the division, either by the Kerala High Court, we need a declaration that these two decisions are per curiam, or else we'll have to get it corrected by it is referred to a larger bench, the division bench, and we have to get it corrected. And that process is now pending. And the Forest Department, as a lawyer for the department, I am also behind that, sir.
Okay, try to get a favorable order, sir. Try to get a favorable order, yes, sir. Yes.
Justin, sir, one.
Yes, sir. Sir, not audible, sir. Advocate Mayadas, sir, your voice is not audible.
Mayada sir, you are muted, but your voice is not audible, sir. Can you please repeat?
One more. What about Arikomban transferred?
Sir, Arikomban I heard, but beyond that I am not able to hear.
Arikomban transferred to Tamil Nadu. Later, I think it will be returned to Kerala later. Whether any chances there?
Allah, sir, actually, so far as Arikomban is concerned, we already have a collared. It is radio collared. So
yes.
We closely monitor the movement of the animal. Actually, it is not transferred to Tamil Nadu. It was actually left deep inside Thekidi, Periyar Tiger Reserve only. But yes. Unfortunately, it tried to come back to Munnar via Kambam. But again, the Tamil Nadu Forest Department again tranquilized it and left inside the forest. So it is very much happy inside the Agastyavanam Biological Reserve. So it is not going to come back to Munnar. That much is assured because we keep tracking it. We know where this animal is there on a daily basis. Means a real-time basis. Real-time basis, we know where this animal is moving and what it is doing. So it is not going to come back to Munnar. That is the rest assured. Because it is very far away from Munnar.
What is your reaction when a lot of people cried at that moment when it left? As people became sad.
It was an emotional moment for the local people. I have worked in DFO as DFO Munnar for many years. I was assistant conservator, divisional forest officer, also conservator of High Range Circle. So I know the terrain, and Arikomban was there even when I was DFO in 2005, 6, 7. So it could have been an emotional moment, but I think in the larger interest, I think for the animal as well as for the people of Munnar, I think the translocation was a good decision.
Thank you, sir.
Because it is more happier in the forest. It is more happier in the forest. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, Justin sir, and Kerala Law Academy, and Nagaraj sir, and entire team. Great speech.
Thank you.
Great speech. Great informative. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Justin. This is Dr. Prathapan.
Sir, good evening, sir. Good evening.
Vice Chancellor of D.Y. Patil Agriculture and Technical University.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating all the way from
very interesting and very nice presentation. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I need to ask one question. It's rather a suggestion. You were mentioning about Arlam Farm.
Yes, sir.
I too worked there for quite some, associated with them for some time while I was serving as, you know that I served as National Horticulture Mission Director of Kerala.
Yes, sir.
You know, I read somewhere that there is a proven story or history that the forest animal human being conflict can be reduced, especially by elephant making live honeybee fences. What's your opinion about that? Whether our Forest Department of Kerala has done a trial on it or not? Why don't you try it in Arlam Farm?
Sir, actually,
live fencing. Yeah.
Yes. Live honeybee fencing was common in Sri Lanka, where I worked. Sri Lanka is also rich in elephant population. They use it, but we have also tried here this live honeybee fences, but somehow farmers are not forthcoming. We tried in Nilambur and all, but I think under the horticulture mission, as a part of honey mission, we can try it on a larger scale in Kerala. Actually, I take your suggestion, but there was some
the tribal people as stakeholders, not farmers.
Yes.
Making the tribal people as a stakeholders.
Yes.
May work.
Yes. We take your suggestion, sir. Thank you very much. We take your suggestion. We'll discuss internally, and also with the state horticulture mission, and also with the prominent apiculturists about the feasibility of using it in Kerala, sir. We have, I think, on trial basis we have done that in Kerala. But it has not been taken on a larger scale. So anyway, we will take this suggestion, sir. Thank you for this.
I take this opportunity to congratulate Advocate Nagaraj and entire team, right, to have a wonderful alumni of our law college, Trivandrum.
Yes, sir.
Law Academy. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Are there any more queries and those have raised their hands?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
I'm Vidya Panikar. I'm doing my LLB, but basically I'm a zoology teacher. And my query is about what is the actual reason for man-wildlife conflict? Is it because of human population growth or because of the wildlife population explosion that resulted from our conservation activities? What is your opinion?
The first reason could be population growth of our country is a primary reason, because at the time of independence, we were only 33 crore. Today, we are 140 crore. So multiple times we have grown so far as population is concerned. But there is nothing to worry, because that is our strength. The world looks at us only because of our market, our population. So it's the biggest strength for our country. But having said that, on the other hand, the population of the wildlife, tigers have increased. Tigers, as I discussed in the presentation, we are having a 6% growth so far as tigers have increased. But in Kerala, the elephant population has reduced. There is, except for Wayanad, there is no major problem so far as tiger when it comes to man-animal conflict, except for Wayanad. That also, it's a way. Now and then it happens. It is not a recurring instance. When someone moves into a forest area in an inebriated condition, or he has taken liquor or something like that, and goes near to an elephant or a tiger, then naturally it is bound to attack them. It is their self-defense to attack a human. But so far as elephant is concerned, that is a major problem, has been a major problem in Kerala. Elephants straying into the human habitations for various reasons. But the good news is that the population of Kerala population of elephants in Kerala has reduced in the recent census from 3,500, close to 3,500 to now we are close to 2,400 plus only. So the population has reduced. But as I told you in detail earlier, we have been taking decisions, particularly on the development front, blocking their corridors, blocking their routes, encroaching their areas for various development projects. So that has been a major reason for man-animal conflict, not only in Kerala, of course, across the country. Development, as I told you, it is between development, whether you want development or environment, whether the decision is for economics or environment, ecology. So which is important. So the government has to take a balance while taking a decision on such aspects. So so far as government of Kerala is concerned, we have always tried to strike a balance to take care of the needs of the people when they require a particular development initiative. At the same time, we are also taking care of the animals by various proactive measures, even the Navakiranam project, which has been recently implemented. So that's a very major step from the government of Kerala side to ensure that whoever wants to move out from the forest areas to avoid this man-animal conflict, here is an opportunity. So tomorrow you need not cry that I am affected by an elephant or a tiger. You already have an opening now. You take 15 lakhs per family and then you have an opportunity to move out. So that's a major step from the government of Kerala side to take care of the people and also to take care of the wildlife. Secondly, under the KIFBI project, a lot of work is being done to erect fences, whether it is solar fence, normal solar fence, elephant-proof trenches. We also have crash guard solar fence, hanging solar fence, a variety of fences we are doing. Where, depending on the requirement of the people, whatever they want, we are doing. Only thing, the management, post-management is a very important thing, where the local panchayat and the local communities will have to join together to take care of the management of these fences that are being erected by the forest department. Otherwise, whatever effort we are doing, it is going to go in vain. So it has to be a joint effort from the government side, from the forest department side, from the people who are working in the panchayats to the local communities, the Vanasamrakshan Samitis, the forest rights committees. All these people have to join together to take care of the infrastructure that is being developed by the forest department and the efforts that are being taken by the government. The citizens have to utilize such efforts to avoid this man-animal conflict.
Thank you, sir. May I ask one more question?
Yes, yes.
I heard about the homing instinct of animals. Animals are having some sort of an instinct called a homing instinct. There is a tendency to go back to their native place.
Correct.
And if you are translocating the reptiles, particularly the snakes, are they show any such homing instinct?
Normally, this homing instinct is there in the cats, elephant, bigger mammals. For a snake, it does not happen that way. Normally, we leave it dense in the dense forest. There is no way it can come back to the place where it is actually caught. So far as snakes are concerned.
So the translocated snakes are
they are taken deep inside the forest, and in case you encounter a snake in your house or in your premises, please do not kill it, because it's a very, very important component of our biodiversity. They are precious species. So we have to capture it without harming them, and for which you can always download the SARPA app, SARPA app on your mobile phone. And the moment you inform through the app, within 30 minutes, our staff will come to the location and capture the reptile without causing any harm to the reptile and to the people also. They take it safely and leave it deep inside the forest. So there is no problem for you. It will not come back to your house.
Thank you, sir, sparing your valuable time. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Any other queries? Those are raised hands.
I'm Pramod, Field Director, Periyar Tiger Reserve.
Yes, sir.
I've been listening to the presentation, and I've heard the comments of the Honorable Director of the Academy. So I would like to have my specific comments on that regarding the landscape approach in conservation. As a forester, as a government servant, who's a servant of the people, instrumental in protecting wildlife for the betterment of the human race and for the whole of the species around the world, or maybe in the area where we work. We've seen very positive changes all through some 15-20 years down the line. For instance, Rani, which the director has mentioned that it's having rich biodiversity. We have added 148 square kilometers to the Periyar Tiger Reserve, adding to the total area of the Periyar Tiger Reserve. To boot, in Trivandrum also, Nayar and between Nayar, Pepara and Shadurani, we have already proposed a sanctuary by the Penmudi Wildlife Sanctuary that is in the pipeline to be declared. So that will have connectivity and afford better protection. Some 15-20 years back, across Tamil Nadu side from Periyar Tiger Reserve, it was Theni territorial division. Now it has become Meghamalai Srivilliputtur Tiger Reserve. Tiger Reserve is affording the maximum protection.
Correct.
All these are adding to the wildlife areas and giving much more protection to the entire system to do conservation at a better level. So I'm hopeful that this is we are having an edge and trend will continue. And over the years, the landscape, adjacent landscape will also be added and be given more protection, not alienating people, but making friends, people friends in conservation of the forest. And there was a question regarding honeybee as a tool to mitigate human wildlife conflict. I think it was tried and tested in Kerala for some time earlier, but after 2-3 instances, elephants get used to it, and then it will be able to reach it. So it was not very successful in Kerala, but maybe this is the same observation and the feeling there other places of the world also. Thank you.
Thank you, Pramod, for your intervention. So far as honeybee is concerned, I have lived in Sri Lanka. No, you know that I have lived there for more than 3 years now. The people of Sri Lanka also face this elephant man-animal conflict. So they have been using this for many years now. We'll have to just try what they are doing here in Kerala, and then we will see. Maybe we can discuss this elaborately. That's a good suggestion, because Dr. Prathapan was SHM director who was also instrumental to begin this honey mission. That is why he has given this idea. So anyway, thank you for intervention. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Justin sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Shyam Kumar, I'm first year student of Government Law College, Ernakulam. Sir, I have 2 doubts. So, shall I proceed with the first one?
Yeah, please.
Sir, you mentioned about the water parks and those things. I was very carefully listening to those things. But you had mentioned less about rivers and backwaters, because so my concern is the impact of this rivers and tributaries getting polluted these days, particularly in Kerala I'm talking about, and its impact on the wild animal life. How do you look into this part? Because what I'm trying to understand is how closely the forest department is working with the state pollution department in this regard. So can you please throw some light on this particular issue?
Actually, so far when I showed this water hole, it is a water hole created by the department. Am I clearly audible?
So there's a disturbance coming from the other person. The one who has asked your doubt, can you please mute your mic? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So the water hole which was shown in the presentation is the one that is created by the forest department to provide water availability to the wildlife inside the forest. So far as the pollution of water bodies outside the forest is concerned, see, generally inside the water that is coming to the rivers, most of the time it comes from a watershed, and most of the watersheds are forests. So the pollution, there is no scope for pollution from the forest per se. But say, for example, the water body that is coming to Vemanad Lake, that is Kuttanad. So majority of the water that comes from Idukki district is from the tea plantations, where there is bound to be a lot of pesticide residues or chemicals that are applied to the plantations. So I think the Pollution Control Board would be looking into it. From our side, we are only ensuring that if there is any complaint to the forest department, we will address it. Otherwise, the water that flows from the forest ecosystems, from the watersheds, from the forest, there is no pollution from any pesticide or any chemical.
Any other queries? Participants have raised their hands.
Not audible.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I'm a 3rd year student, LLB student in KLA. Sir, my doubt is, you said that in Kerala, the feed is not a problem for these animals.
Generally.
So what is the real intention, or rather, we have any insights why these animals come to the human habitats?
It depends. I'll tell you one story. When I was in Munnar, see what happened. A elephant had been visiting a village called Elambalasheri, okay, near Neriyamangalam. Every day it used to come. So there was hue and cry. I was the conservator at that time. We did not know why this animal is coming there. So there must be some reason. It comes only in the night, picks up some jackfruit and then leaves. Okay. So there was a lot of agitation. So I decided that we will go and tranquilize it at that time. So that time we decided that there was no Kumki. I'm talking about 2014. There was no Kumki with the Kerala. So we decided that we will sedate it and we will see what is the issue. So we asked the people to move away from the village one night, and we were camping that area. Same animal came. The animal came to the village, and then we darted it. First dart itself, it stood, and then we had a second dart. And then when we neared it, we found that the trunk, the tip of the trunk was actually cut. So it was actually cut. We do not know how this cut had happened. So we had a very good team. So we decided on the spot, because after sedation we cannot take much time. It was a standing. The wild animal was just standing after getting the dart. So we decided that we will cut off that tip. Okay, because it was hanging. It was hanging, and probably the elephant found it difficult to actually feed on its own. That is why it is coming and eating directly through its mouth. So it was not able to use the trunk. So the tip of the trunk, we decided to do a surgery. And we actually did a surgery just like a human surgery. It took within 10 minutes, we did the surgery. And then we did this antidote, and then waited, and then slowly drive the animal back into the forest. And then deep into the forest. And then after some time, we wanted to know whether the animal comes back. Animal did not come back. So whenever an animal comes into a human settlement, there would be some reason, some particular reason must be there. In this case, the reason was that because of the injured trunk, it was not able to feed using the trunk. So it found it very easy to eat directly from the jackfruits that were available in the home gardens of the village, Elambalasheri village. It happened in 2014. So we have to study each and every case would be special. Unless we know what is the reason, we will not be able to judge sitting in Law Academy or in our home. What could be the reason? We cannot go into assumptions. There could be some reason why the animal moves out into straying into the human settlements, and most likely, most of the time is because change in crop pattern. Say, for example, in areas like Attapadi and all. Recently, they have shifted to millets and other crops, but traditionally, these people, when they go in for crops which are relished by the elephants, say for example, banana or sugarcane. So when farmers go in for crops that are liked by elephants, then naturally the elephants get attracted to such areas. And also, of course, liquor also. In forests, in the settlements around the forest, if someone is brewing liquor, keeping in home, elephants actually get attracted to liquor smell. So they are tempted to try to take that liquor. So these are some of the reasons. Of course, major thing is that you block the corridor and move into their habitat. Otherwise, a lot of other reasons are there. Every reason would be special. Unless we sit and analyze what is the reason, we will not be able to generalize that this is the reason for which elephants move out into a human settlement.
Any other queries?
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for the wonderful, informative class, sir. One simple question I was asking, sir, in Walayar, what is the actual issue? Because it's a tragic death for an elephant there, no?
Yeah.
It's all very known to all of us.
Yeah.
Why there is no fencing still, even after the death?
No, fencing is done. Fencing is done. Fencing is done. What happens is, even after fencing, somehow they break and come into. from the Tamil Nadu side. Of course, Tamil Nadu government is also taking a lot of efforts. But when it by chance enters the fence, it is not possible to move out. So now I think they have taken a complete fence around that elephant track. But what happens is when the elephants cross the track, because that is a Walayar reserve forest, when they cross the track, we have been requesting the railway officials to reduce the speed. But the railway, from the railway point of view, unless the engine moves at 60 km/h, it cannot pull the wagons, because each train will have about 14 to 16 wagons. So below 60 km/h, if the engine is moving, the train will have to stop. That is their argument. So we have gone in for a multi-pronged strategy. Reduce the speed to 60 or slightly less than 60 km/h. That is one. During whenever the train enters through the forest. Secondly, the engine drivers normally do a continuous horn. They horn to ensure that the animals, if they are standing on the track, it moves away. Of course, the fences are another type of strategy where we have tried to ensure whatever possible to prevent the elephants to move directly into the track. So we have adopted a multi-pronged strategy. Things have changed now. From the Kerala side, most of the accidents, if you notice, it would be on the interstate border in the Tamil Nadu side. But they have also taken a lot of proactive steps these days. But I think in due course, I think these accidents, would be brought to almost zero.
Sir, one more question, sir. In villages now in interior Kerala, there is another issue, not elephants, but pigs and peacocks. You are aware. So no agriculturist is able to do anything in his land because of the attacks beneath the earth and above the earth. That kind of. So what can be the solution, sir? What can be the ideal solution for this kind of attacks?
Wild pigs, no? You are talking about wild boars.
Yeah, wild pigs and peacocks as well.
Wild pigs play a major role in the ecosystem, but government of Kerala has actually taken a very major decision so far as wild boar is concerned. No? You already know that we have already treated that as a vermin type of animal. So, but from the farmer side, I think they should fence their plot, or they should go in for crops which are not attracted by the wild boars. That is one. Regarding the peacocks, nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. It is very sad to see a lot of poisoning of peacocks that keeps happening both in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. This keeps happening very occasionally, but we'll have to. The farmers will have to live with it. There are a lot of homemade technologies. They have their own ways to chase away these peacocks, particularly any bird, for example, because from the agriculture side, we have our own ways, our Parambarya Arivu. So traditional knowledge to wade away these birds. I think the farmers will have to use that technology. They have that artificial human-like structures kept on the field on different areas. Then there are a lot of white flags. Generally, the birds avoid that white flags. Any disturbance to a disturbance-like situation in an agriculture field is not frequented by birds. Generally, it happens like that. So the farmers will have to, instead of poisoning it, they will have to go in for alternate strategies to prevent peacock attack.
Thank you.
Attendees are requested to note that the scheduled time for Q&A would end at 8 p.m. So anybody with any other queries are requested to post it the day of this. Thank you. Those have raised their hands.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Your presence here actually enriches our understanding of wildlife management.
Thank you.
We are thankful for your contribution to this important field. Sir, my question, in your opinion, responsible consumption and sustainable living play in reducing the demand for wildlife products and supporting conservation efforts.
The first part of the question was not audible. Can you just repeat?
Yeah, sure, sir. What role does responsible
citizens
consumption and sustainable living play in reducing the demand for wildlife products and supporting conservation efforts?
Correct. See, two issues. One is the demand for wildlife products. So there is always a greed for humans to keep wildlife products as some sort of aesthetic item in their home or in their office. So the demand for wildlife products, that is the only reason why the CITES came into being, Convention on International Trade for Endangered Species. So to regulate trade in wildlife species, particularly endangered species. And it has played a major role. But having said that, in spite of CITES being in place, still there is a lot of trade of wildlife. And as I told you earlier, it does not move through the airport or seaport. It moves through the porous land borders. And through that, it reaches different places where that particular animal is not available. The only thing is that we as citizens, responsible citizens, should not go in for wildlife-based products, one. Secondly, if we come to know about any poaching related incidents or anyone who is involved in this type of wildlife trade, as a responsible citizen, as a law-abiding citizen, as a citizen who loves nature, forest and environment, you should inform this fact to the forest officer or the nearest police officer. So that will ensure that that chain is broken, because wildlife trade is not a one-off, it is not a one-to-one or 1, 2, 3 persons. It is a huge chain that is involved. That chain has to be broken, for which the role of citizens is very, very crucial. Secondly, coming to conservation point of view, already the department is taking a lot of efforts for conservation. From government side also, a variety of measures are being taken. It's a multi-pronged strategy, not only the forest department, which is of course the pivotal department to take care of conservation, but other departments are also giving their support to ensure conservation. It should be a joint effort. And you already know that there is a Biological Diversity Act in this country, which is an umbrella act for so far as conservation is concerned. So under this act, anyone who is actually accessing any biological resource for a commercial purpose, they will have to ensure that a portion of their gain is shared to the people who are actually conserving these resources. So this acts as some sort of an incentive to the people who are actually protecting, cultivating or propagating a particular species. So as you know, a large number of species, people living in the forest earn their living through collecting these species. So when they get an added incentive, they ensure that that species does not get extinct. They also play a major role in conserving these species. So it's through law, it's through executive action, through judicial action. It's a multi-pronged action to ensure that conservation succeeds in our country.
Right, sir. Okay. Very insightful words. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So due to time constraints, we are winding up the Q&A session. Thank you, everyone. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul.
Please, just a suggestion, because we have very important personalities on the forest department. One is both of them are the future of the forest department. So I would suggest to both, because the field director of the Periyar Tiger Reserve has also joined to give suggestions. He is also the future of the department, and our respected speaker is also the future of the department. I would suggest that when you say about wildlife, and we only speak of protected areas and reserve forests, but everywhere we find wildlife.
Yes.
The birds, butterflies all need their host plants and all these, even in urban areas. So why don't the forest department take up it as a project? Because you are the future leaders of the department. So why don't we? So you should. This is my just suggestion. If you could all take it there. that why don't you all do it as a case where we plant more trees, host plants, host trees, host plants for butterflies, for birds and all this in the urban areas, so that students are given marks, maybe law academy students or students of the university college or Maharaja's college or the women's college in the city. This is the capital city we have, which is going to be the fourth city. So
Yeah.
we could promote them. You could give
Yes.
marks for them. You could give awards, incentives. The leaders of the department, as the main speaker of today, our Justin sir and Pramod sir, who has intervened, all could take up this so that they can all given incentives to promote this type of activities in greening the entire city, so as to provide host trees and plants for not only for birds and butterflies, for other species who can come over here. But
Sir,
may I
thank
add
you.
also butterflies, I find that they are long migrating species, because
Yes,
in
yes.
United States they migrate for almost 3,000 kilometers. Here
Yeah.
our butterfly, like the blue tiger, they migrate up to Sri Lanka and come
Correct.
back, maybe the second generation, third generation. They remember there's some magic which we cannot
Sir.
explain, how the second or third generation come to the same place. So why don't we put up, because I know that forest department has such possibilities, but we give it to the students to do this, to encourage them, some incentives which come from the forest
Yeah.
department. Of
Sir,
course,
2-3
I would
things.
wish, okay.
Yeah, 2-3 things I would like to mention here, sir. Regarding the butterfly park or promoting butterflies in the cities or in rural areas will not be released by the farmers, because butterflies play a dual role. They are a pollinator as well as also pest. In the larval form, almost all the butterflies are pest. So only when it becomes an adult as a butterfly, it is actually a pollinator. So it has a dual role, an evil role and a good role. So for the farmer, if you promote a butterfly garden in a city or in a rural area, it will not go well. But of course, we take your suggestion in the forest areas. This can be considered, because we have two predominant schemes now, actually funded by the government of India and state government, of course. It's called School Nursery Yojana. So every school is actually given money, funds for setting up a nursery. That is to create awareness among the students. So maybe we can write to the government of India to also expand it to the college. Then maybe the first college will be the Law Academy from the Kerala Forest Department side. We will consider Law Academy as the first college. Presently, we are only considering the school, so that the awareness goes to the students. We want to bring the students closer towards nature. Also, there is another scheme called Nagarvan Yojana, where we want to create city forests. So under the Nagarvan Yojana, urban areas are picked up, and then we want to convert them into a forest-like situation. Under this, butterfly gardens can also be created, maybe slightly away from the farming areas, so that it does not become a pest for the farmers. Now, sir, what was the third thing, sir? What was the third thing you were asking?
For birds, planting trees for horse.
Yeah, sir, already we are having a social forestry wing. Within the
I mean, fruit-bearing trees, especially fruit-bearing trees, encouraging the students to plant this and giving them incentives.
Yes. Every year we are planting close to 50 lakh trees. So we will give more priority for fruit-bearing trees, because it is going to benefit the citizens also. So presently, also we are doing medicinal plants, timber species, and fruit-bearing species. We are going for it, but we take your idea, sir. We take your suggestion. It's a good suggestion, sir. Thank you.
Sir, it was an excellent speech, sir.
Sir.
And also the interference by the field director Periyar was also excellent. I should say I should place on record my appreciation for both of you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. Every celebration is an experience as the external fades away and the internal lingers and echoes in the most depths of our heart. We are reminded that events like this one are milestones on the journey of life and remind us of God's fidelity also. Now, I would like to invite Naya Swati Balasaraswati ma'am Moot Court Trainer, Kerala Law Academy, to deliver the vote of thanks for this event. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Manupriya. A gracious and an agreeable evening to all acclaimed persons and all other virtual sharers here. At this point of time, we reached on all encompassing discourse of 1 week augmenting Wildlife Week celebrations 2023, put forward by Kerala Law Academy Law College in association with KLA Forestry Club and IQAC KLA to espouse the conservation and protection of animal life. In the shadow and instant, the endeavor on me is to deliver the vote of thanks in this valedictory session, and with very prestigious delight, I would like to start the same by respectfully remembering the father of this celebrated institution, late Dr. N. Narayan Nair sir, by paying adoration and adulation on his ancient soul. The distinguished prime person of today's session, Sri J. Justin Mohan IFS, Chief Conservator of Forests, Kerala, has delivered a brainy and bright palaver on the topic titled Scenario of Wildlife Management in India and Way Forward, which wised up the listeners with the various facets of wildlife management. Sir systematically elucidated the basic logic behind the conservation of wildlife, then constitutional provisions, global initiatives, and wildlife offenses. He also elucidated the management strategies and a novel Sarpa Up and Navakiranam project of Kerala to reduce the man-animal conflict, and the statement that nature is very beautiful and each species have its own purposes. It is really a statement of awareness, sir. So, at this instant, with immense regard, I am denoting a cordial gratitude and thankfulness to you, sir, for making this session an enormous, brilliant, and enthralling.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With the humongous perception, it is very importunate to shower thankful impressions to the most valued advocate Nagaraj Narayan sir, Director, Kerala Law Academy Law College and member Bar Council of Kerala, who is having a towering wisdom coupled with a greeny mind and with such clear-sighted cognition on environment and wildlife, made this program each day engrossing like frostings in a gelato. Henceforth, with esteemed honor, I am expressing an earnest thankful respect to you, sir, for being our champion of strength and for giving us endurance.
Thank you, Sadi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The predominant identity of this institution, the most appreciated and honored Professor K. Anil Kumar sir, directed administration students and faculty of Kerala Law Academy Law College. Sir is a great personality who is transforming the dreams of the institution into reality. Sir's miraculous foresight and prudence is one of the considerable successes of this event. Hence, I am taking this juncture to convey hearty and honest thankful courtesies to you, sir, for your well-founded rampart. The adjoining matron part of this institution, Professor K. Harindra sir, Principal, Kerala Law Academy Law College, is consistently an acclaimed authority of constant upholder of every event of this institution. Accordingly, I am indicating the courtesy, a sincere, thankful note to you, sir. With recognition and favor, I am expressing genuine thankful regards to Professor G. Anil Kumar sir, Vice Principal, Kerala Law Academy Law College, and Professor Dr. Achitanar L. Ma'am, Senior Faculty, Kerala Law Academy Law College, for their stable and steady foundations. Next, the most ponderous substratum of this event is a team of dedicated organizing committee faculty members, of which the worthy and virtuous advocate Kasturi Nagaraj ma'am, Assistant Professor Kerala Law Academy Law College, who is a nature admirer and having an immense base on wildlife protection and preservation. At this moment, I am expressing my devout thanks and gratitude to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Swati.
And with palpable perception, I am conferring thankful notes and regards to Sri N.K. Shashidharan sir, Assistant Professor, Kerala Law Academy Law College, for methodically organizing this happening. Now, I am signifying thanks and grace to the faculty conveners of this undertaking, who are the Assistant Professors of Kerala Law Academy Law College, Mrs. Ranjini Ponanshila, Advocate Arya Sunil Pal, Mrs. Shalini A.P., Mrs. Priya M.K., Dr. Malavika J., Sri Shakti Prabha M., Mrs. Adira Chandran R.I., Sri Varun Dev, and Ms. Devinath A. I am also mentioning a special gratitude to Assistant Professor Mrs. Ranjini Ponanshila ma'am, who delivered an accepted welcome note in today's session. The adjoining imperative and marked part of this scene is the tandem of student conveners, and I am taking this time to express thankful mentions to them, comprising of Manupriya Chellan, Janagi JV, K.S. Gogul Krishna, Irene Elsa Cherian, Bhavani Biju Nair, Vaishnavi Nagraj, Anunanda J.S. and Vaishnavi M. Arun, and also a specific regard to today's student moderator, Manupriya Chellan. The whole intertwining reticulation of this 1 week virtual event by our notable IT team. I am taking this space to express thankful notes to them also, and then saying gratitude to office staff, administrative staff, and any other concerning of this happening. After all, with a delighted mind, I am indicating thankful mentions to all students of this institution who attended the sessions and other listeners from various fields for their presence. Once again, thank you all and have happy hours.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So with that, we have come to the conclusion of this most wonderful session. On behalf of our institution, I would like to thank all the dignitaries for joining us and enlightening us with their most valuable words. I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart our most esteemed guests for your presence, which indeed made this occasion an auspicious one. I use this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude towards Advocate Nagaraj Narayan Sir, Director, Kerala Law Academy, Professor Anupama K. Sir, Director, Administration, Students and Faculty Affairs, KLA, Professor Harindran K. Sir, Principal, Kerala Law Academy, Professor Anupama G. Sir, Vice Principal, Kerala Law Academy, Professor Dr. Ajita Nair L. Man, Senior Faculty, Kerala Law Academy, and our organizing committee faculty members, Advocate Kasturi Nagaraj Ma'am, Assistant Professor, Kerala Law Academy, and Shri N.K. Shashidharan Sir, Assistant Professor, Kerala Law Academy, for providing us with such a wonderful platform. I would like to thank our faculty conveners for their unending support. I also would like to thank all those who have worked for the success of this event, because nothing would have been possible without the wholehearted support and guidance of such strong-willed and determined people behind the curtain. Last, but definitely not the least, I thank each and every one of you present here for your kind cooperation and patience. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead. This is Manupriya Chellan, signing off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I request everyone to kindly rise up for the national anthem.